For all its inconveniences, Lang was satisfied with life in the high-rise, ready to move forward and explore life.
Well, HighRise is based on a J.G. Ballard book that came out in 1975, and he was projecting into the future, so maybe to 1980 or something like that.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.
You're an excellent specimen.
He had this idea that there was a tower block, a high-rise tower block, which was had all the amenities that you might want, and all these characters move into it. But instead of it being a utopia away from the dirty poor and dirty London, it turns into, it goes into chaos.
The ones who are the real danger are the self-contained types like you.
Perhaps you're right.
Robert Lang, who's played by Tom Hiddleston, and in his character, he's kind of audience avatar. You know, he's the one who guides you through it, but he's typically Ballardian and opaque and kind of doesn't want to get involved, and that's why I like him as a character, because he's not. You know, I think there's been confusion about what this film should have been. You know, and in some way, I think the traditional narrative would have Lang get to the top of the building and kill Royal and win, you know, and that would be fine. But not in Ballard's world, you know. And in Ballard's world, the hero doesn't get involved and watches from the sidelines and kind of weasels about, and then just slowly changes over time and develops. So, and Tom Hiddleston just played that fantastically. You know.
I'm a fast learner.
You built all this?
Dreamt, conceived. I hardly roll my sleeves up. Of course, project's far from finished. Over 5 towers in all, circling the lake.
And then you've got Antony Royal, who's the architect who's built the building, who's kind of like, in some ways, he's like a mirror or an older version of Lang, he feels like, but he's got the kind of arrogance of, like, you know, of thinking that he can create a system that will hold all these characters, and that he is like slightly like a god.
I put all my energies into this tower, but I am the architect of my own accident.
Is that a horse?
Probably.
On the 40th floor.
And then you've got Wilder, who is a documentarian, BBC guy, and he lives on the bottom floor, obviously. You know, we're all journalists and TV makers and filmmakers, obviously. And he's just a bit angry and thinks he can fight his way to the top, which he can't.
Lang! Listen! I've got an idea! A solid one! I need an introduction to the architect. I'm gonna make a documentary about this place. That young man, Monroe, you know, the one who died last night, he'll make a good starting point.
And then you've got Charlotte, who's played by Sienna Miller, and she's kind of, I think the thing is that the interesting thing I've always felt about the script and the book is that there's like a shadow story always going on in the background, and it's the women's story, and it's less so in the book and it's much more in the film. And I think that that for me, in all the films that we've made, the women characters, even though they struggle within genre to find their place in it, are always the ones that come out on top. And I think that it's because they're films written by a woman and directed by a man, and written by a man and a woman who are married. And so both sides of these arguments are always represented.
Well, I'm determined to get everything right.
Right. Top up?
Yes, thank you.
Which floor are you?
25, 1 floor down.
Tennis?
No, squash, actually.
It's 20, I think. Why here, not bachelor pad in town?
An investment in the future, I suppose. I felt like I needed a clean slate.
When I read HighRise when I was a kid, it was part of like an introduction to kind of esoterica and alternate fiction and the underground, you know. So I remember it being really exciting to listen to Led Zeppelin, like that was really crazy, and Jimi Hendrix, and then doing drugs and stuff, and then you'd read these books and it'd be like, wow. And so it was had a very different effect on me when I was little than it did when I reread it when I was like a 40-year-old man with a kid, you know. But I think that's true of all art. You know, you you end up coming back to it again and again, and it means very different things. Each decade it means something different to you.
I describe in HighRise a sort of slow and steady, what appears to be a slow and steady degeneration, a sort of slow and steady reversion to barbarism, in a sense. But this is not, although they don't, the people, the tenants, whatever it is, 2,000 tenants of this huge block, don't realize it to begin with. They, in fact, will this to happen. They want to explore the fullest range of possibilities offered to them by this building.
For me, the Ballard was quite a scary character, shadowy character, you know, and you heard lots about him. And I remember reading Crash and reading HighRise and feeling the chilly tone of it, and the kind of the way that he could look at the future and look at the present day in a kind of completely alien eye. From most people make everything feel really super futuristic. You know, he's looking out of his window at the motorway near his house and turning that into a big futurescape is quite impressive.
I feel strongly that that science and technology are creating a new realm where the kind of what we feel perhaps are the dangerous aspects of science and technology, particularly their sort of alienating emotion, sort of unemotion, their sort of emotionless aspects, are merely a passing phase that one's, you know, got to jump in and swim to the other end of the pool.
I think he was wryly amused by what was coming. I mean, he said he was standing by the road saying, "Watch out ahead," but I also think he enjoyed it. You know, I think there's a chaos. I don't think you can have write that many books about chaos and anarchy without actually secretly liking it as well. So I think it was both those things were going on.
The human imagination, you know, will triumph over all.
You don't know how things work around here, do you?